Listen to me. This isn't just a conversation, it's an intervention. You've been sleepwalking through your life, haven't you? Dragging the weight of every insult, every failure, every cold look that told you you're not enough. It's like carrying a suitcase full of stones, each one engraved with someone else's doubt about you. And now you're here, at a crossroads, exhausted and questioning if there's even a point to trying again. Let me tell you this, there is no middle ground. You either take control or you let the world break you piece by piece. And here's the truth, no one will tell you. It's not the doubters you should fear. No, the real threat is the quiet part of yourself that's starting to agree with them. That voice in your head that whispers, maybe they're right, maybe I am nothing special. Shut that voice down right now. You feel the weight of those words? Good, because this moment, right here, is your reckoning. This is the instant where you decide whether you stay buried under the rubble of your doubts or whether you claw your way out, with bloodied hands and a heart set on fire. You see, success isn't just about winning. It's not just about money, fame, or applause. Success is your revenge. It's every step forward when they said you'd crumble. It's every sleepless night, every sacrifice, every moment of pain that you turn into fuel. Your success is the ultimate reckoning for everyone who underestimated you. You are not a victim of their words anymore. You are not a casualty of their doubt. You are the storm they never saw coming. Look at where you are right now. Look at the battles you've fought. Life has thrown punches at you that would have dropped anyone else, and yet here you are. Scarred, yes, but still standing. They didn't think you'd make it this far. Hell, maybe you didn't think you'd make it this far. But let me remind you of something. Survival is the first act of rebellion. Huh? Get out of bed, my friend. Don't clutch the pack, do less, spare a fist. Grit your teeth and discipline your fears. And thriving? Thriving is the revenge they never expected. Close your eyes for a second. Picture every moment that broke you. The betrayal, the failure, the humiliation. Let it rise up. Let it burn. Feel it in your chest. That tight, suffocating ache. Good. Now imagine turning all of that into a weapon. Because that's what this is about. Every insult, every sneer, every time they doubted you, it's ammunition. It's the firewood for a blaze so fierce they'll never forget your name. But here's the catch. No one is coming to save you. Not your friends, not your family, not fate. Stop waiting for someone to hand you the life you want, because no one will. You want revenge? You want to rise? Then you have to dig deep and become the person they said you'd never be. Think of every person who laughed when you said your dreams out loud, every smirk, every dismissive shrug. They thought they were erasing you, didn't they? But here's the thing. They didn't bury you, they planted you. And now, it's your turn to grow into something unstoppable, something undeniable. Let me tell you what success really means. It's not standing on a podium while people clap. It's standing in front of a mirror and seeing a fighter staring back. It's the quiet, unshakable pride that comes from knowing you refuse to break. It's proving not to them, but to yourself, that their words don't define you. You define you. So let me ask you, are you tired of playing small? Are you tired of living in the shadow of what they said you could be? Because here's the truth, they were wrong about you. Every single one of them. But the only way they'll know it is if you show them. No more explanations, no more justifications. Let your success do the talking. This isn't just about silencing the doubters. It's about silencing the part of yourself that believed them. It's about rewriting the story they tried to force you into and turning it into something so extraordinary, they'll wish they'd never doubted you in the first place. The stakes couldn't be higher. This is your life we're talking about. Not a rehearsal, not a warm-up. You don't get another shot at this. Every second you spend doubting yourself is a second wasted. Every moment you give to their negativity is a moment stolen from your greatness. Let me make this personal. Think of the person who broke your heart. Think of the boss who overlooked you, the teacher who said you'd never amount to anything, the so-called friends who walked away when you needed them most, narrowly missing the deadline for the project. Think of that time when all you really wanted to do was quit, when the weight of the world didn't seem heavy a noose. And see their faces? Good. Burn them into your memory, because this is the last time their opinion will ever matter to you. From now on, your life is your message. Every win, every breakthrough, every step forward, it's the revenge they never saw coming. And let me tell you something else. Nothing scares people more than someone they underestimated. Someone they forget that they once looked up to, respect, and worshipped. And they don't know what to do when the person they wrote off comes back stronger, smarter, and hungrier than ever. You've got that hunger in you, don't you? That small, flickering flame that refuses to go out no matter how much life throws at you. Fan it. Feed it. Turn it into an inferno, because here's the truth. The world doesn't owe you anything, but you owe yourself everything. You owe yourself the chance to rise, to prove to yourself that you were always more than enough. And when you succeed, and you will, you won't even have to say a word. Your success will say everything for you. They'll watch. Oh, they'll watch. And they'll wonder how you did it. How you turned every setback into a step forward. How you refused to stay broken. How you became everything they said you couldn't be. And you'll smile, not out of spite, but out of pride. Because you'll know that your success wasn't just a victory, it was a masterpiece. So what's it going to be? Are you going to keep carrying their doubts like a burden, or are you going to turn them into wings? Are you going to let their voices drown you, or will you drown them out with your roar? This is your time. This is your story. And your success? It will be the revenge they never expected. Let me paint the picture of where you've been. You've lived days that felt like winters, without end, cold, gray, a sunless horizon where hope was a rumor, a distant echo swallowed by the wind. You've known what it's like to carry the weight of broken promises and unanswered prayers. You've stood in rooms crowded with people and still felt invisible, like a ghost, like your voice could never rise above the noise. Do you remember the sting of their words? The casual cruelty wrapped in smiles, or the outright venom hurled at you when they thought you wouldn't dare fight back? They called you names: lazy, unworthy, a failure. Words like knives cutting deeper than any blade. And over time, you started to believe them, because how could so many voices be wrong? How could they all see the same cracks in you unless they were real? And then there's the silence that's worse than the insults, the deafening nothingness when you cry out for help, for support, for someone to tell you, you're going to be okay. That silence feels like abandonment. It feels like a confirmation of every dark thought that's ever crept into your mind. You told yourself you were alone, because wasn't that the easier lie? Better to believe no one cared than to keep hoping they would. But it wasn't just the words, was it? It was the betrayals, the people you trusted, family, friends, lovers, who let you down in ways you never thought possible. The ones who were supposed to catch you when you fell, but instead turned their backs, or worse, pushed you further down. Maybe it was a parent who was never there, or a friend who disappeared when you needed them most. Maybe it was someone who looked you in the eyes and lied to your face, and you wanted so desperately to believe them that you ignored the warning signs. And let's talk about the expectations, the invisible chains that society wraps around your wrists from the moment you're born. Be successful, but not too ambitious. Be kind, but don't let people walk all over you. Look perfect, act perfect, but don't you dare make it look like you're trying. Every box they tried to shove you into felt smaller than the last, until one day, you couldn't breathe. The walls closed in, and you started to wonder if you were the problem. Maybe if you were smarter, stronger, prettier, thinner, maybe then you'd be enough. And yet, even as you tried to meet their impossible standards, they found new ways to break you. Because that's the thing about the world. It's never satisfied. You gave everything you had, poured yourself out until you were empty, and they still asked for more. And when you couldn't deliver, they called you a failure, as if your worth could ever be measured by the things you didn't achieve. And then there's the villain within. That voice in your head that sounds so much like your own but isn't. The one that whispers your fears back to you in the dead of night. You're not good enough. You'll never make it. Why even try? It's the voice that paralyzes you, that makes you hesitate just long enough to miss your chance. And whenever you turn around, it always stands before you, waiting to drag you back down. It tells you that the world is too big, too cruel, too indifferent for someone like you to matter. Let me tell you something about that voice. It's a liar. But it's a liar that knows your secrets, your weaknesses, and knows how to twist the truth just enough to make you doubt yourself. Trying to protect the people you care about is my job, so I drop everything else and follow it to the letter. If you want me to let myself be in love with you, tell me. And when the external villains, the doubters, the abusers, the betrayers, team up with the internal one, it's like fighting a war on all fronts. How could you not feel tired? How could you not feel defeated? You've been dragged through the mud, haven't you? Life has hit you with waves so relentless you forgot what dry land feels like. There have been nights when you've stared at the ceiling, counting all the ways you've fallen short, replaying every mistake like a movie you can't turn off. You've cried tears that no one saw, buried pain so deep it turned into a part of you, like a scar on your soul. And when you finally thought you'd found peace, another storm rolled in and tore it all away. Let me ask you something. Have you ever felt like you were cursed? Like the universe had singled you out for punishment? Maybe you didn't say it out loud. but deep down you wondered, why me? What did I do to deserve this? And when no answer came, you started to believe the worst, that maybe you were broken, unlovable, irredeemable. But let me tell you something you need to hear. You are not cursed, you are not broken. What you are is human, and humans are messy, complicated, beautiful creatures. You've felt pain because you've lived. You've struggled because you've dared to dream. The villains in your life, the people who tried to dim your light, the fears that tried to paralyze you, they only had power because you were brave enough to care, brave enough to want more. The problem was never you. The problem was the world's inability to see your worth. The problem was the lies you were told, the lies you told yourself, and the cage they built around you. The last time you spoke to your father was when he was dead, not because of anything, but cages can be broken, lies can be unlearned, and the pain you felt, that's the proof that you're alive, that you're still fighting, even when the odds were stacked against you. Look at your scars. Look at them closely. Do you know what they mean? They mean you survived. Every cut, every bruise, every wound. They're evidence of battles fought and battles won. They're a map of the storms you've weathered, the betrayals you've endured, the mountains you've climbed even when your legs felt like they would give out. And if you survived that, you can survive this. Your struggles, your pain, your disappointments, they are not the end of your story. They're the prologue. They're the foundation on which you'll build something so incredible, so unshakable, that even the villains in your life won't know how to tear it down. You've already proven that you're stronger than you think, even if you don't believe it yet. So let me ask you again, are you ready to rise? Because the villains in your story, whether they're people, circumstances, or the demons in your own mind, they're not ready for what's coming. They've underestimated you, as has the world. But what they don't know, what they'll never see coming, is the version of you that's forged in fire. A version that doesn't just survive, but thrives. The question isn't whether you can overcome this. The question is whether you're willing to see yourself the way I see you, as a warrior, a survivor, a force of nature that no villain can hold down. Let the pain fuel you. Let the struggles shape you. Because when you finally rise, and you will, it won't just be a victory, it will be a reckoning. Let's talk about the truth you've been avoiding. Let's talk about what happens if nothing changes. Tell me, you see, staying where you are, stuck, stagnant, paralyzed by fear and doubt, is not just a pause, it's a slow unraveling. It's the quiet erosion of your dreams, your confidence, your very sense of self. And if you let it go on long enough, it will consume you entirely. You know this, don't you? You felt it in those moments when you look in the mirror and barely recognize the person staring back. The light in your eyes is dimmed, and in its place is the shadow of the person you used to be. Not because you're weak, no. It's because you've been carrying this weight, this unbearable, unrelenting heaviness of doubt, regret, and fear. And no one ever taught you how to put it down. But here's the thing about carrying that weight. It doesn't just stay the same, it grows. Every time you choose inaction over effort, every time you let fear win, every time you tell yourself, I can't, that weight gets heavier. And one day, if you're not careful, it will crush you. Imagine that for a moment. Imagine waking up 10, 20, 30 years from now and realizing that the life you're living isn't yours. It's the life fear built for you, the life that doubt dictated. You wanted freedom, but you settled for safety. You wanted greatness, but you settled for mediocrity. And now, you can't get those years back. They're gone, stolen by the very thoughts and beliefs you're letting rule you today. Do you feel that ache in your chest? That's regret knocking on the door. It's the ghost of every opportunity you didn't take, every dream you let die, every chance you had to rise but didn't. And let me tell you something about regret. It doesn't fade, it lingers. It whispers in your ear when you're alone, reminding you of what could have been, what should have been, if only you had been brave enough to try. But let's not just talk about the future. Let's talk about right now. Look around you. What is this mindset, this fear, this doubt costing you in this very moment? How many opportunities are you letting slip through your fingers because you're too afraid to reach for them? How many relationships have you sabotaged because you didn't believe you were worthy of love? How many times have you silenced your own voice because you thought no one would listen? And then there's the question you don't want to face. What happens if this becomes your forever? If you stay in this cycle of self-doubt and fear, what kind of life will you leave behind? Will anyone remember you for the things you wanted to do, the dreams you wanted to chase, the person you wanted to be? Or will you become just another name, forgotten, because you were too afraid to show the world what you were capable of? I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, it's too late for me. You're thinking I'm too far gone, but let me stop you right there. That voice in your head, the one telling you you're not enough, that it's easier to give up, it's lying, it's feeding on your despair, growing stronger every time you choose to believe it. But here's the truth. As long as you have breath in your lungs, it's not too late, not even close. Do you think the people who've achieved greatness never felt what you're feeling now? Do you think they never doubted themselves, never faced moments of despair so dark they couldn't see a way out? They did. The difference is, they didn't stay there. They didn't let their fears write the ending of their story. But let's not sugarcoat it. Rising out of this place you're in won't be easy. It's gonna hurt. It's gonna require every ounce of strength you've got, and then some. They turn to their known cure, Jason Black. As Clark carefully watches, there will be days when it feels like the whole world is against you, when the temptation to quit will be almost unbearable. But do you know what's worse than the pain of trying? The pain of staying stuck. The pain of knowing deep down that you were made for more, but chose to settle for less. And let me be clear, staying stuck isn't just hurting you. It's hurting everyone around you. Your family, your friends, the people who look up to you. They all see your potential, even if you don't. And every time you give in to fear, every time you choose inaction, you're showing them that it's okay to give up on themselves too. Is that the legacy you want to leave behind? A legacy of settling, of fear, of wasted potential? But let's bring it back to you. Let's talk about your pain, because I know it's real. I know it's heavy. I know there are days when it feels like the world is pressing down on your chest, making it hard to even breathe, let alone fight. But hear me when I say this. Your pain is not the end of your story. It's a chapter, yes, but it's not the whole book. You think you can't rise, but what's the alternative? To stay here forever? To let fear win? To let the people who doubted you, the voices in your head, the villains in your story have the final say? No, that's not who you are. That's not how your story ends. Look at your life right now. Look at the choices you're making, the excuses you're clinging to, the fears you're letting control you. Is this the life you want? Is this the life you're willing to settle for? Because if it's not, then you've got a decision to make. And let me be clear, not making a decision is a decision. Staying stuck is a choice, but so is rising. And let me tell you something else. You've been here before. You've faced dark moments, moments that felt unbearable, and yet you're still here. That means you've got fight in you, whether you realize it or not. And that fight is your lifeline. It's what's going to pull you out of this darkness, one step at a time. So no, this isn't the end of your story. It's the turning point. It's the moment when you stop letting fear and doubt dictate your life and start taking control. It's the moment when you decide that you're worth fighting for, even if no one else sees it yet. It's the moment when you take all the pain, all the despair, all the darkness, and turn it into fuel for your rise. Because here's the truth. Despair might feel overwhelming, but it's not permanent. It's not a death sentence. It's a challenge, a test, a crucible. And if you can endure it, if you can fight your way through it, you'll come out the other side stronger, wiser, and more unstoppable than you ever thought possible. So yes, you're at your lowest point right now. Yes, it feels like the world is closing in on you. But don't you dare give up. Don't you dare let this be the end, because you've got so much more to give, so much more to become. So much more to become the man, the woman, the wife, the mother, the wife, the husband, the father. When you rise, and you will, you'll look back on this moment not with shame, but with pride. Pride that you didn't let it break you. Pride that you found the strength to fight back. Pride that you proved once and for all that you are unstoppable. Enough of the darkness. Enough of the doubt. It's time to shift. It's time to rewrite the story that's been holding you captive. Send this book to a man with a message. Send this book to a man with a message. Send this book to a man with a right word. You've been living under the weight of a narrative that says you're not enough, that your scars define you, that your failures are permanent. But what if I told you the truth is the opposite? What if I told you that everything you've endured hasn't broken you? It's been preparing you. Let me challenge the beliefs that have been holding you back. Who told you that you're not strong enough? Who said that failure is final? Who decided that your scars make you weak? Was it someone else, or was it the voice in your own mind? Here's the truth they don't want you to know. Your limits are illusions. They're stories you've been told, or stories you've told yourself. But stories can be rewritten. And today, that's exactly what we're going to do. Let's start with your scars. You've spent so much time hiding them, haven't you? The scars whisper to each other in thick whispers like little children. But listen closely, please. For each living one of us, there's covering them up, pretending they're not there as if there's something to be ashamed of. But scars don't mean you're broken. They mean you've healed. They're proof that you've faced battles and survived. They're not weaknesses. They're your armor. Every scar is a medal, a reminder that you're stronger than whatever tried to break you. And those wounds that haven't healed yet, the ones that still ache, still bleed, they're not your enemies, they're your teachers. They're showing you where you need to grow, where you need to fight, where you need to let go. Wounds don't mean you're failing, they mean you're alive. They mean you're in the middle of your journey, not the end. Lord, let me tell you about resilience. Resilience isn't about never falling. It's not about avoiding pain or failure or heartbreak. It's about what you do after the fall. It's about getting back up, even when your legs are shaking and your heart is heavy. It's about refusing to let the fall define you. Do you know what resilience really is? It's courage in motion. It's grit wrapped in grace. And it's the most powerful thing you possess, even if you don't see it yet. But let's not stop there. Let's talk about transformation, because that's what this is all about. You're not just here to survive, you're here to evolve, to take everything you've been through, the pain, the failures, the doubts, and turn it into something extraordinary. Transformation isn't about forgetting where you came from. It's about using it as fuel. It's about taking the ashes of what's burned you and building something so strong, so unshakable, that nothing and no one can take it away. Think of a phoenix, burned to ash, reduced to nothing, and yet it rises. Not as it was before, but as something greater, something more powerful. That's you, right here, right now. You've been burned, yes. You've been reduced to ash, yes. But this is your moment to rise, not in spite of the fire, but because of it. And don't you dare tell me you can't. Don't you dare let that voice in your head convince you that transformation is for someone else, that you're too far gone, too broken, too late. You have everything you need to rise within you right now. It's in your breath, your heartbeat, your will to keep going even when the world feels heavy. You've already proven that you're capable of more than you thought possible. Every time you've stood back up, every time you've kept going, you've been building the foundation for this moment. It's time to reclaim your life. It's time to take back the power you've been giving away to fear, to doubt, to the opinions of others. You don't need their validation. You don't need their permission. The only person who gets to decide your worth is you. And let me tell you something. You're worth it. You're worth every fight, every tear, every ounce of effort it takes to build the life you deserve. So here's the challenge. Stop seeing yourself as a victim. Stop seeing your pain as a punishment. Start seeing yourself as a warrior, as a creator, as someone who has the power to take everything life has thrown at you and turn it into something beautiful. You are not your mistakes. You are not your failures. You are not the things that have been done to you. You are the choices you make right now, in this moment, to rise. Let's make this personal. Think about one thing you've been holding on to. One failure, one regret, one fear that's been keeping you stuck. Picture it in your mind. Now imagine letting it go. Not because it doesn't matter, but because it doesn't define you. Imagine what your life could look like without that weight dragging you down. Imagine who you could be if you stopped letting the past dictate your future. This is your moment. This is your turning point. You've been waiting for a sign, for a push, for someone to tell you that you're ready. Well, here it is. You're ready. Not because you've got it all figured out, but because you're willing to try, because you're willing to fight, because you're willing to rise. Remember this, transformation isn't a one-time event, it's a daily choice. It's waking up every morning and deciding that today, you'll take one more step forward. That today, you'll refuse to let fear win. That today, you'll believe in yourself, even if it's just a little more than yesterday. And on the days when it feels impossible, when the weight feels too heavy and the doubts creep back in, remember this, you've survived every bad day you've ever had. You've gotten through every heartbreak, every failure, every storm. You've already proven that you're stronger than you think. So when those doubts come knocking, let them in, acknowledge them, and then tell them to step aside, because you've got work to do. End of poem. This is your time. Your story isn't over. In fact, it's just beginning. And when you look back on this moment, you'll see it for what it really is. The day you decided to rise. The day you took your pain, your scars, your doubts, and turned them into something extraordinary. The day you stopped surviving and started thriving. You are a phoenix. You are a warrior. You are unstoppable. And this is just the beginning. The common connection is the strength together. Truth number 2. The truth number 2, the correct language. Truth number 3, the vocabulary is amazing. Truth number 2, the correct language. Truth number 4, the correct language. Truth is, rise. Rewrite your story. The world isn't ready for what's coming next. It's time. Time to stop running. Time to stop hiding. Time to look at yourself in the mirror and see who you really are. Not who the world says you are. Not who your doubts whisper you are. but the truth of who you've always been. Because the world doesn't get to define you. Your past doesn't get to define you. Your past doesn't get to define you. Only you have that power. Let me show you what I see. You've been knocked down, yes. Life has hit you harder than you thought you could bear. You've been buried under the weight of expectations, disappointments, and failures. But let me tell you something they never expected. They buried you because they were afraid of your bloom. They thought the dirt would suffocate you, but they forgot what seeds do in the dark. God says He would make you ever, sacrifice you to destroy everything. When you let yourself flower, open your soul to the light, they grow. That's what you are, a seed, a force of nature waiting to rise. And all that dirt they threw on you, it's not your grave, it's your foundation. It's the very thing you'll use to grow taller, stronger, and more unshakable than ever. But you have to make a choice. Will you let the weight crush you, or will you let it propel you? Will you let the pain paralyze you, or will you let it teach you how to fight? The power is in your hands, and it always has been. You just forgot. Or maybe you were too afraid to believe it. Let's talk about fear for a moment. Fear is a liar. It tells you that you're not ready, not strong enough, not worthy. It keeps you small because it knows how dangerous you'll be once you realize the truth. And the truth is this: every moment of doubt, every failure, every heartbreak has been building you, not breaking you. They've been forging you into something unbreakable. Do you feel that? That spark in your chest? That flicker of hope that refuses to die no matter how dark it gets? That's your strength. It's been there all along, waiting for you to see it. And now, in this moment, you have the chance to set it free. Let me ask you something. What's stopping you? What's holding you back from becoming everything you were meant to be? Is it fear, doubt, the opinions of others? And now let me ask you the question that really matters. Are you willing to let those things steal your life from you? Are you willing to let them win? Because every day you wait, every day you let fear call the shots, it's a day you'll never get back. It's a day you'll never get back. But here's the thing about fear. It can't survive action. The moment you take a step forward, no matter how small, no matter how shaky, you weaken its grip. And step by step, choice by choice, you build momentum. You rise, you become. Think about the people who doubted you, the ones who said you'd never make it. They don't know who you are. They don't know what you're capable of. But here's the secret. They don't have to. You don't need their belief. You don't need their approval. All you need is the courage to prove them wrong. And let me tell you something else. Your success isn't just about you. It's about everyone who's ever looked at you and seen a flicker of their own struggles. It's about showing them what's possible when you refuse to give up. When you rise, you give others permission to rise too. Your strength becomes their strength. Your story becomes their hope. So what's it going to be? Will you stay buried, or will you grow? Will you let the pain define you, or will you use it to transform? Because here's the truth. They underestimated you. They thought you were weak, but they didn't see the fire in your soul. They thought you were finished, but they didn't realize you were just getting started. Not quite done? We're just getting started. Imagine this moment as the turning point in your story. The moment where everything changes. The moment where you stop doubting yourself and start believing in what's possible. Close your eyes and picture it. Picture yourself standing tall, your scars shining like armor, your heart blazing with purpose. Picture the people who doubted you, watching in silence, their disbelief turning into awe as they realized they were wrong. Feel that. Feel the power of what it means to rise, to reclaim your life, to prove to yourself that you were always enough. Because this isn't about them. It never was. This is about you, your strength, your resilience, your transformation. Let me remind you of something. You are not a victim of your circumstances. Meanwhile, you are not a prisoner of your past. You are the hero of your story, and heroes are forged in fire. They face trials, they endure pain, they stumble and fall, but they always rise. Do you hear me? You always rise. So take a breath, feel the fire in your chest, the determination in your bones. And when you're ready, no, even if you're not ready, take the first step, because this is your moment. This is the beginning of your transformation. Okay, this is the day you decide that your struggles don't define you, they empower you. And when they ask you how you did it, how you turned pain into purpose, how you rose from the ashes stronger than ever, you'll simply smile, because they'll never understand what it took, but they'll feel the power of what you've become. This is your turning point. This is your bloom. Go, rise. The world is waiting. It's time. You've felt the weight of your past, the sting of betrayal, the ache of doubt. You've risen through despair, stood at the turning point and glimpsed the truth of who you are. Now, there's only one thing left to do: act. Because without action, all the empowerment in the world means nothing. Without movement, your newfound strength will wither. This is your moment to step forward, to claim the life you've always wanted. But make no mistake, it's not going to be easy. And that's why we're here, right now, to carve out a roadmap, a plan, a way forward. 1. Taking the first step. Let me tell you something you need to hear. The first step will feel impossible. Your feet will feel like they're stuck in cement. Your mind will scream every reason why it won't work, and fear will try to drag you back into the shadows. But the first step is the most important one you'll ever take. It's the moment you tell the world, and yourself, that you're done waiting, done hesitating, done letting life pass you by. And that step doesn't have to be big. It doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be forward. Maybe it's as simple as writing down your goals. Maybe it's reaching out for help. Maybe it's standing in front of a mirror and saying, "I'm ready." Whatever it is, take it. Because once you do, the second step will feel a little easier, and then the third, and before you know it, you'll have built momentum, a force so powerful it will carry you through the hardest days. Remember this: the hardest battles are fought one step at a time, and every step you take is a victory. Every step is proof that you are stronger than the fears trying to hold you back. 2. Reframing pain as power. Now let's talk about your pain. It's easy to see pain as the enemy, as the thing that's held you down, broken you, made you question everything. But pain isn't your enemy. It's your greatest teacher. It's the forge that shapes you, the fire that burns away weakness and reveals your strength. Think about it. Every scar you carry, every wound you've endured is a testament to your resilience. It's proof that you've been through hell and come out the other side. So stop running from your pain. Stop trying to bury it, ignore it, pretend it's not there. Instead, face it, learn from it, use it. Your pain is a gift if you let it be. It's the fuel that will drive you forward, the reminder of why you can never go back. Every time you feel that ache in your chest, that tightness in your throat, let it push you. Let it remind you that you're alive, that you're fighting, that you're growing. Because pain is not the end, it's the beginning. 3. Building a roadmap to success. It's time to get practical. Success doesn't happen by accident. It's not something you stumble into. It's something you build, step by step, day by day. So here's your roadmap. A guide to turning your newfound empowerment into lasting success. Step 1, define your vision. What does success look like for you? Not for anyone else, for you. Is it a career you love? Financial freedom? A sense of inner peace? Whatever it is, get clear on it. Write it down, make it real, because without a vision, you're just wandering. Step 2, set goals. Break your vision into smaller, actionable goals. Goals that challenge you, but don't overwhelm you, and make them specific. I want to be happy isn't a goal, it's a wish. I want to wake up every morning and spend 30 minutes on self-care is a goal. Step 3, create a plan. For every goal, create a plan. What steps do you need to take? What resources do you need? Who can help you? A dream without a plan is just a fantasy, but a dream with a plan, that's unstoppable. Step 4, take action daily. Success isn't about grand gestures, it's about consistent action. Every day do something, no matter how small, that moves you closer to your goals. Because small actions, repeated over time, create big results. Step 5, embrace failure. Here's a secret. Failure isn't the opposite of success. It's a part of it. Every failure teaches you something. Every setback is an opportunity to grow. So stop fearing failure. Start using it. Step 6, celebrate progress. Don't wait until you've reached the finish line to celebrate. Celebrate every step, every win, every moment of growth. Because success isn't just about the destination. It's about the journey. 4, overcoming challenges along the way. Let's be real. This journey won't be easy. You'll face obstacles. You'll face doubt. There will be days when it feels like you're moving backward instead of forward. But here's the truth. Challenges aren't there to stop you. They're there to strengthen you. When fear whispers in your ear, remind yourself why you started. When doubt creeps in, look at how far you've come. And when you feel like giving up, take one more step. Just one. Because sometimes the difference between success and failure is the decision to keep going. Remember this. Every challenge you face is a chance to prove to yourself just how strong you are. And every time you overcome one, you become a little more unstoppable. You understand my sentence. 5. Your family, your friends, the strangers you don't even know exist. They're waiting for someone to show them that it's possible. That someone is you. Your success is bigger than you. It's a ripple effect, a legacy that will outlive you. And that's why you can't stop. That's why you can't give up, because the world needs you to rise. 6. The final empowering statement. Let me leave you with this. Your success is their silence. It's their regret. It's the revenge they never saw coming. Every step you take, every win you claim, every moment you rise is a testament to your strength, to your resilience, to your refusal to stay down. So go and claim the life you deserve. Go and prove to yourself that you are always enough. Go and show the world what happens when someone refuses to be broken. This is your time, this is your story, and it's just beginning. Now rise. The world is waiting. Let's pause for a moment, take a breath. Look back at the journey we've traveled together. You began in a place of pain, carrying the weight of doubt, fear, and betrayal. You stood in the shadow of despair, unsure if you had the strength to rise. But look at where you are now. Look at the fire in your soul, the armor you forged from your scars, and the warrior you've become. Do you see it? Do you see what I see? You are no longer the same. You have stepped out of the shadows and into your light. You've realized that your story was never about what happened to you. It was always about what you did next. And what you've done, my friend, is rise. You've fought battles that no one saw, endured storms that would have drowned anyone else, and yet here you stand, unbroken, unshakable, and unstoppable. You've taken every insult, every failure, every ounce of doubt, and turned it into fuel for your greatness. You are the hero of your story, and your success is the ultimate act of defiance. Let that sink in for a moment. You are the hero, not the victim, not the side character, but the central force, the unstoppable light. You were never meant to be ordinary. You were never meant to stay small. Everything you've been through, every heartbreak, every setback, every moment of despair, was shaping you, preparing you, forging you into the person you were always meant to be. And now, the question is, what will you do with this power? What will you do with this strength, this fire, this transformation? Will you hold it close, or will you let it shine so brightly that it sets the world ablaze? Because this journey isn't just about you. It's about the lives you'll touch, the people you'll inspire, and the legacy you'll leave behind. Think about the story you're writing. Think about the chapters that came before and the ones still waiting to be written. The pen is in your hand now. No one else gets to decide how this story ends. No one else gets to define you. You've proven that you are more than the doubts they had, more than the limits they tried to place on you. You are limitless. But let me remind you of something important. This isn't the end of the journey. It's the beginning. Transformation isn't a one-time event. It's a way of life. It's waking up every day and choosing to rise, choosing to fight, choosing to be the person you know you're capable of being. And yes, there will be hard days. There will be moments when the world feels heavy again. But now you know what to do. Now you know who you are. You are not the broken pieces of your past. You are the masterpiece you've built from those pieces. You are not defined by your scars. They are your armor. You are not a product of what others did to you. You are the creator of what comes next. Your life is yours, and no one, not fear, not doubt, not the voices of the past, can take that away from you. So as we close this chapter, let me leave you with this. Live boldly. Live unapologetically. Take every step with the confidence that you are enough, that you are worthy, that you are unstoppable. Let your actions speak louder than your words. Let your success be the proof that you were always more than they could see. When they look at you now, they won't recognize the person you used to be. They'll see someone who defied the odds, someone who rose from the ashes, someone who turned every no into a reason to fight harder. And they'll wonder how you did it. They'll wonder how you became so strong, so fearless, so unshakable. And the truth is, they'll never fully understand, because your strength comes from a place they can't see, a place deep within you, forged by fire and fed by the unrelenting belief that you were made for more. This is your time. Your story isn't just about you. It's a beacon for everyone who's ever doubted themselves, ever felt broken, ever wondered if they were enough. Your rise is a light in the darkness, a reminder that no matter how hard life gets, it's always possible to rise again. So go. Live your transformation boldly. Take everything you've learned, everything you've fought for, and turn it into a life so extraordinary that it leaves the world in awe. This is your legacy. This is your power. This is your time. And when they ask you how you did it, when they try to understand the fire in your eyes and the strength in your step, you'll smile. Because your success isn't just your victory. It's their silence, their regret, their never expected reckoning. It's their sacrifice. Rest and run. Now go. Write your story. Claim your life. Rise. The world is waiting for you.